Very good morning to you. It is 7 a.m. on Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. October is flying by. And welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We will take calls from you. 888-658-0234. We're not going to take calls from you. We'll receive the calls you give us. How about that? It's impolite to say we'll take the calls. 888-658-0234. If you like sunshine, if you like spring-like weather, it's going to be perfect today. Sunny, highs about 70. Not quite there now, though. It's chilly as all heck in the low 40s. We head straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the first check of the Garden State forecast. Right, Mike? We don't take calls. We gently receive them from
We
people.
receive them, right? We receive them in a line. It's like a receiving line of calls. A line
Exactly.
that's that could get longer, especially today, because people calling in, maybe complaining about the weather, Ken. Because we'll take those calls too. Complaint department is open. Given how we go from so chilly in the morning to so warm each afternoon, you have to like dress for two seasons just in the matter of a few hours. Take note. This morning, like Ken said, chilly. 39 degrees in Sussex, 41 right now on the green in Morristown, and 36 back over by Flemington. Even LBI down on Ship Bottom and Love Ladies, 49 degrees currently. That is a solid 22 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. A big chill through Toms River, 18 degrees cooler for you than 7:01 yesterday morning. And a lot of that reason is due to the dew points. They've dropped, so it's much drier, not a lot of humidity in the air, making it feel rather crisp early on this October morning. Skies are nice and clear, meaning a beautiful sunrise happening right now. We'll show you the satellite picture in just a sec to show you how clear the skies are. And the winds are light, not terribly gusty, but they do turn gusty again by this afternoon. You'll notice wind gusts up to 19 miles per hour by 11 a.m., maybe getting up to 35 miles per hour there on LBI throughout this evening. So pretty breezy through today and again tomorrow. Tomorrow has a little bit more of a southwesterly wind component, but that all relaxes for Thursday when the chill returns and settles back into New Jersey, making it feel rather cool for the end of the week. Lots of sunshine today, helping us warm into the mid 50s as soon as 9 a.m. And look at this, we're back up in the 70s by noon, feeling quite warm for the afternoon. We're dry during the daylight hours today, but rain returns tonight. There'll be some light spotty showers just after the dinner time hour, taking us through early in the morning. Could get another quick hit of heavy rain briefly as that front pushes through, and then it clears out just in time for tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning's commute looks okay. 60s, not terrible tomorrow, not too cool, but not too warm. This is actually average, just right for the day for tomorrow. And then by the overnight into Thursday morning, we look a little bit cooler. Temperatures running on the cooler side due to the extra clouds that'll be around for the remainder of the week. So while it's dry during the day on Thursday, it will be extra cloudy, and that adds a little bit of a chill to the air. Friday starts off partly sunny and stays cool through the afternoon. Again, only in the 50s on Friday, with those temperatures feeling much cooler going into the weekend. So transitioning to our average temperatures where we should be this time of year after another really warm day. Temperatures again could feel like the 70s today, mid 60s tomorrow, and then sliding down into the 50s by the end of the week. We'll tell you more about the weekend forecast coming up. Never too early to talk about the weekend. Those details in a few minutes, Ken.
Now, I'll tell you what our mistake is. Our mistake is we didn't start talking about it enough yesterday. That's the error.
Mm,
We got to work that. Put that in the complaint list. When we have the meeting.
okay.
And we'll talk about that. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate it. It's as Mike said, very chilly right now. Starting off chilly, but getting nice. 42 degrees northern New Jersey, 41 degrees in Trenton, and we're down to 40 in Cape May. You feel it when you go outside. We have traffic as well. So let's take a look at Route 22. There is a missing sewer grate right now. This is eastbound Route 22. East of West End Avenue, North Plainfield, the right lane is closed. So you could see the emergency vehicles working on that. So does it look like the right lane? Looks more like the shoulder there. So maybe they got people over or not. And you see the brake checking. Either way, it's going to build in the next hour. So just beware of that. Again, that is Plainfield Route 22 missing sewer grate eastbound, east of West End Avenue. You have that. It's North Plainfield, the right lane being affected there. We have a water main break reported. Route 73 northbound north of Route 692 Franklin Ave in Berlin. The right lane is closed and the right shoulder as well as a result. Over to Route 19, we have a crash. Route 19 northbound north of Route 621, Valley Road in Patterson. The right lane is closed there. And now to the Garden State. We have two different things to report. The first one is this. There's a disabled vehicle on the Garden State Parkway causing those brake lights right there. This disabled vehicle is northbound south of exit 136 Stiles Street in Cranford Township with the right lane blocked. That's why you see what you see on your screen. And a little further south, down by exit 40, the Garden State Parkway southbound north of the Frank Sinatra service area in Galloway Township. All lanes are open, but there is a crash to report there. Not as trafficked an area, so it's not causing major problems right now. But in case you're headed south, just beware of that. New Jersey Turnpike, inner and outer roadways right now, northbound from north of Interchange 13A by Newark Airport in Elizabeth to south of Interchange 14. You have a lot of volume, 2 miles of it right now. And that's simply because of people getting to work and the sun rises and gets in their faces, etc. Let's take a look, if we can, to the Hudson River approaches. The Lincoln and Holland are both reporting 20 and 25 minutes respectively. Let's take a look at the GWB approach. It's a, can you say frickin'? Yeah, we could say frickin'. It's a frickin' mess. It's a frickin' mess. And looking at the charts here, there's no reason for it. So there's not like an accident or just a frickin' mess. It says here that, yeah, it's given us a travel time right now on the lower level, which is on the left side, of 35 to 40 minutes. I would bet you it's a little longer than that now. And the upper level on the right is 35 minutes. There you have it. 7:06 is our time, and the government shutdown is now in its third week. Today is day 21. A small number of Democrat senators refuses to break ranks to vote with Republicans on a clean continuing resolution. In other words, the very same spending bill that was drafted under President Biden and passed by the Democrats in Congress a year ago, well, those Democrats today refuse to support. So all we're talking about, we're not talking about a whole new spending plan. We're talking about taking what they had already said yes to a year ago and extending it 4 weeks so that during that time, the Democrats and Republicans can get together and try to decide on the new spending plan for next year as required by law. They refuse to have a continuing resolution. And they're trying to blame the Republicans for this. No, the Republicans say, let's open the government. Let's have a continuing resolution. And then we will decide on a new plan. But they know that when they go to decide on a new plan, the new plan they decide on is going to be a Republican slanted plan. And they don't like it because they're a bunch of petulant children. Look, you have to have a spending plan. It's the frickin' law. You got to give it. You're not going to win. You're in the minority in both the House and the Senate, and you don't have the presidency, and you don't have the Supreme Court, and you don't have a majority of Americans either. So stop doing this. The only people you can blame for this shutdown is one party, the Democrats, and Chuck Schumer. And Chuck Schumer made the comment, every day this thing goes on is better for us. But I'm going to show you in a second how he's full of crap. He doesn't realize now the American people have turned on him. They're supporting Trump on this, and not Schumer and the Democrats. We'll talk about that. So in the Senate, for those who don't realize, spending bills can only be passed with 60 votes. It's called a cloture vote. Republicans only have 53 members, so a handful of Democrats must vote with the Republicans for the resolution to pass. And again, not a new spending plan. We're talking about just reopening government so that they can get together and debate. And Democrats refuse to do it. So far, only one senator, John Fetterman, one Democrat senator. John Fetterman, the only person with reason. He's a traditional Democrat from Pennsylvania. Who knew? The poor guy with the stroke could be the voice of reason. And there are a lot of things, by the way, that I agree with him on that I don't agree with the Republicans on. John Fetterman is a pretty wise guy. There are things I disagree with him on. But when it comes to stuff like this, the guy's like, look, here's the reality. We are not going to get our way as Democrats right now. But you don't want to shut down the government as a result. So this is the Schumer government shutdown, no matter how you slice it. And to prove it, now it's 7:09, CNN is reporting that most Americans are blaming Democrats for the government shutdown. We're not talking Fox News. This is CNN. Since October 1st, support for President Trump has increased by a point. Yep, a point. So it hasn't gone down. It has increased. That differs sharply from the last government shutdown that President Trump was involved with in 2018. Take a listen.
You know, we speak about Donald Trump shutdowns, net approval rating. We're talking 20 days into it. In 2018/2019, Donald Trump's net approval rating was already falling. The shutdown was eating into his popular support. It was down 3 points already at this particular point and would fall considerably more. It was very much on the decline. You come over to this side of the screen, this shutdown hasn't eaten into Donald Trump's support at all. His net approval rating is actually up a point in terms of his popular support. So the bottom line is this: the first shutdown during Trump's first term, 2018, 2019, was hurting Donald Trump. This one is not hurting him at all. There's no real reason Donald Trump might say, at least when it comes to popular support, I want to get out of this shutdown.
What about the question of blame?
Yeah, okay. What about the question of blame? Okay, you see here, you see Donald Trump's net approval rating was down 2018 to 2019. You talk about 2025 as net approval rating is up. It comes down to the blame game, a game I loved to play when I was younger. Blame Trump for the shutdown a great deal. In 2018/2019, 61%, more than 3 in 5 Americans blame Trump a great deal for that particular shutdown. You come over to this side of the screen, look at this. It's a different world. It's a different world. 48% of Americans blame Trump a great deal for this particular shutdown. So it's more than 3 in 5 back in 2018/2019. It's less than half, a drop of 13 points. Again, it's no real wonder that Donald Trump, at this point, looking at the shutdown, says, you know what, it's not actually harming me politically, in large part because he's getting less of the blame.
Exactly. He's getting less of the blame because he has less of the blame. This is purely caused by the Democrats. Sorry, Chuck Schumer, but this one is on you and the Dems. Checkmate. 7-Eleven right now. A major Amazon Web Services outage knocked out websites across the internet on Monday. Sites like Reddit, Disney+, Snapchat, and Canva. In fact, many more too. They were all affected for hours. And things only came back gradually. It wasn't like flipping a switch. Amazon says the trouble started early in the morning in its main East Coast data center. The issue was caused by a technical problem, they say, not a cyber attack, we hope. Although we find out that China was having sort of a debate about cyber attacks and issues of the sort the day before, so we hope this wasn't them sending a message. Nonetheless, this is according to their technicians, it was not a cyber attack. Even Amazon's own warehouse tools and paycheck apps went down. By afternoon, Amazon said it was seeing signs of recovery and was working on fixes. The outage shows, though, how much internet depends on a few big cloud providers. This is a textbook example of the difference between socialism and capitalism. Let me explain in a second how. Socialism is about centralized government. Put everything, all your eggs in one basket. Capitalism is about having the rugged individual take care of themselves. You can have like regional people, but it's basically every person for themselves. Everyone should know how to do everything. Socialism says, no, we're in control. And the problem is it puts too much power in one place. This is a textbook example of why this is not the way to go. So many companies and users were left in limbo while waiting for service to return. You're talking, this probably cost American companies billions in transactions. Billions. Wake up. 713, remember all those mystery drones over New Jersey last year? Well, somebody finally took responsibility for them. Speaking at Fort Rucker, Alabama last August, a spokesperson for the company allegedly revealed during a panel that their manned aerial craft was to blame for the scare. The admission reportedly came as the company conducted a live demonstration of the 20-foot aerial craft with 4 wings, which is what we see right there, as it sped through the skies. But sorry, folks, Russia, China, and Little Green Men had nothing to do with the sightings. But why didn't the guy come forward sooner is the question. 713, Colombia has pulled its U.S. ambassador over rising tensions. They're upset the U.S. has stopped all of its near $1 billion of financial aid to them. Sorry. And they were all also upset about U.S. comments. Oh, they hurt their feelings regarding drug running from the South American country. Hey, guys, in Colombia, if he walks like a duck, si camina como duck, and talks como duck, it is a duck. I can speak with that accent because I'm part Argentinian, okay? President Trump called Colombia a drug-making machine. The move could affect trade and security efforts. Colombian American families in New Jersey are watching closely. Officials say talks may happen, but nothing is set. Hey, Colombia, listen, get out of bed with the frickin' drug cartels and stop sending your frickin' poison to our shores, and everything will be back to normal. Act like a drug-dealing thug hiding behind the presidency of Colombia, and you will be treated as such. And take a look at the boats that we blew out of the water from Venezuela. You could be next, so watch it. 714, 34-year-old Sergeant Terrell Seals of Florence Township, a soldier from New Jersey, was killed in a vehicle crash at a training site in Germany on Saturday. May his soul rest in peace, and thank you, sir, for your service. An Army spokesperson says Seals was an exceptional leader and a soldier in the 101st Airborne who inspired others to give their very best. Seals joined the Army in 2021. He was on his second deployment, so that was his choice to protect our country. His superiors say he had won a number of awards for his service. The Army is now investigating the cause of the accident. Our condolences to his family. And a fraternity at Rutgers has been placed on probation after a 19-year-old student was critically hurt, possibly electrocuted, last Wednesday at the frat house. The Alpha Sigma Phi fraternity on College Avenue in New Brunswick was also condemned by the city. Can't go in it now. They got a big sticker on the door, can't enter. Officials have not said yet why they condemned the property, but they have their reasons. Detectives say they are now trying to determine if the teen was the victim of a hazing ritual, and hazing, of course, is not permitted on Rutgers campus or anywhere else for that matter, most college campuses. The U.S. conducted a strike on Friday. Speaking of boats being attacked by the U.S. who were carrying drugs, American intelligence officials determined the boat was involved in illegal drug trafficking in the Caribbean. Wow. War Secretary Pete Hegseth posted on X the vessel was affiliated with a Colombian terrorist organization. There you go. And had a huge number of narcotics on board. He said the 3 men on the ship were all killed. No U.S. forces were harmed. This is the 7th known strike in a series of recent attacks by the U.S. military on vessels that our intelligence has determined are involved in drug trafficking. The strikes are part of the Trump administration's hardening stance against South American countries allegedly involved in smuggling illicit drugs into the U.S. By the way, fentanyl coming into the U.S. is down 55% in the last 10 months. 55%. You know how many lives were saved because of President Trump and doing things like that? So anyone who says, that's not right, we don't have a right to do that. Yeah, you do. Little speedboats, for those idiots who think that they're just out for a joyride in the middle of the ocean, speedboats have no place in the open waters. Most people actually will die. They'll be overturned, flipped, etc. They'll run out of fuel. The only reason they're risking their lives there is probably $10 million or more worth of drugs on that little boat. So that's why they're doing. You think 3 guys are going to say, let's go for fun? Doesn't happen like that. The president recently authorized, by the way, the CIA to operate in Venezuela, which when he says that publicly, that means we already have guys there, and has been weighing military action inside the country as part of a pressure campaign to oust President Nicolas Maduro. 7:17 right now, a chilly 42 degrees, mostly sunny today, though. It's going to go way up to 70. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a full Garden State forecast, and we will take your calls. 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away.
I'm Jack Chitterelli, born and raised right here in New Jersey, where it's never been harder for the middle class. As governor, I have a plan to fix our state. In Congress, the only thing Mikey Sherrill fixed is her bank account.
It says she made millions on the stock market, tripling her net worth while in Congress, and was then fined for unreported trades. Is that true or false?
So, I think we made money.
Come on, who wouldn't know if they made $7 million? New Jersey needs a governor who gets it. Mikey Sherrill doesn't. I do.
Good mornings for your Tuesday. I'm Ken Rosato at 7:19. Hey, by the way, if you ever do television and you want to give your director a heart attack, 2 seconds before you come back to air, drop your cell phone on the floor and reach down and get it so that she'll look up and see nobody there. That's a way to cause a defibrillator to break off the wall. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Lots of sun today, highs about 70. Meteorologist Mike Favetta, you can imagine what Pam was doing at that moment, clutching her chest with a full Garden State forecast. But I did get the phone.
Or in this case, you can pretend to mime and not actually talk, so she thinks your mic is off, right? That's true.
You're mean. You even got me on that one.
But it's terrible when your name is Michael and they yell in your ear, Mike, Mike. I'm like, what? What? Oh,
I
microphone.
never thought of that.
Oh,
Never
microphone.
thought
It's
of
the
it.
worst. It's the
I
worst.
love it.
Took me years
That's
to figure that
awesome.
out. Anyway, let's get a check of the forecast, shall we? A little bit of a chilly start to begin the day. It's cool across New Jersey, windy too, especially when we start off with a little bit of those gusty winds out across the waters. There's a small craft advisory as a result through 7 a.m. tomorrow. That just means if you're taking that stroll along the beach and boardwalk today, because it'll be very pleasant to do so, temperatures in the low 70s, you will notice those gusty winds. Have another round of rain that comes in tonight, which could give us another quarter to half an inch, a quick round of wet weather. Again, we could use every drop considering we're still in our drought, but the skies are clear now. Actually, just ran outside to check the strawberry plant. It's starting to wilt. It's been that dry. We haven't gotten enough of that rain to keep things, especially the plants, the mums that you might have on the front porch, to keep those watered. So it's a good idea to get those, give them a good drink because it stays dry over the next few days, despite the little bit of rain we get tonight. 70 in Matawan today, 70 as well in New Brunswick, 69 in Toms River. Feeling cool throughout the afternoon and to the end of the day. Well, cool respectively considering how warm it's been, but overall warmer than average, and it'll again be quite pleasant with the slightly lower humidity. Here's that little bit of rain that comes in tonight, working over Ohio right now. It'll arrive here in about 12 to 15 hours, so it takes its time and gives us a quick round of rain later after dark. In terms of dew points or temperature where they are saturated, it feels dry going through the next few days. So you notice you had to use maybe the hand cream, the lip balm. It's going to remain dry over the foreseeable future. Not anticipating any big, milder trends because this is the season where it remains quite dry, even going into the weekend. Now, as far as Saturday and Sunday is concerned, we have a little bit of this wet weather that's working in by the end of the weekend. I think Saturday is still the drier half of the weekend, whereas Sunday could have a quick sprinkle, and then that should clear out early on next week. Middle of next week, by Wednesday, could see our next weather system move in. Yesterday it was hinting at a little bit of cold air working in over the Catskills up to our north, maybe mixing with some snow. Too soon to tell, but there is enough cold air in place, I think, for that to happen up north. Saturday, 60 and partly sunny, and then maybe some showers by Sunday afternoon with a little bit of a cooler breeze, 59 only. So, yes, the cooler fall weather, Ken, is on the way, and it's coming after another warm day today.
I'm just looking down because I'm depressed. I'm looking for summer and I don't see it. I'm thinking if I look straight that way, that's Australia, and I think they're in spring now, right? So,
They are
hi
in spring,
Australia.
yeah.
But they're all sorts of liberal and stuff. I don't, I know you stay out of politics, but me, I'd have to go down there and keep my mouth shut and all the conversations. Oi, you have that President Trump there, oi, and I'd be like, shh.
You could do a
Anyway.
haka, interruption in the New Zealand Parliament. I love watching those videos on social media.
Oh my God, I think I just broke something did you hear that? I slammed the desk and something fell apart. I got to
It's too
figure out what I
early in the
just
week
did.
for things to be falling apart. That usually happens on
I
Thursday.
I will keep my Italian pause from moving. I will just do this. I'll pray the whole time. All right, Mike, we'll check back, sir. Thank you very much. Chilly, 44 degrees in northern New Jersey, 43 in Trenton. It's 41 down at Cape May. Little ocean breeze coming up. The ocean is definitely cooling down now. It's not like it was a month ago where it was still warm. It's now chilly, getting there. It's not as cold as it will be, but it certainly is getting there. In terms of traffic right now, we have a crash on the Garden State northbound, north of exit 77 in Berkeley. It's by Berkeley in Beechwood, I should say, with the right lane blocked. We have a disabled vehicle on the Garden State, also northbound, south of exit 136 Stiles Street in Cranford. All lanes are open. That's what this is. We have a crash on the Garden State northbound, south of 135. So on the other direction there by Central Avenue in Clark with the right lane blocked there. We have a crash on Route 19 northbound, north of Valley Road in Patterson. The right lane is closed. And then back to the Garden State southbound, there's a crash north of the Frank Sinatra service area, but that's way down by exit 40. All lanes are open, but causing a little bit of a slowdown. We have a missing sewer grate on Route 22 eastbound east of the West End Avenue exit there in North Plainfield with the right lane closed. And we have a water main break, Route 73 northbound, north of Franklin Avenue in Berlin with the right lane closed and the right shoulder as well. There's a lot going on right now. Some heavy delays, Route 3 also eastbound from Riverside Avenue in Rutherford to east of Berries Creek Bridge in East Rutherford. All lanes are open, but it's just very heavy. So all of this happening right now tells me something. We have sunrise. a lot of these accidents are heading east or north, so the sun coming that way. So I think that's what's happening now is the sun is hitting people in the eyes. They're looking down at their phones and doing their makeup, and guys looking at their texts, and they don't realize the car is stopped in front of them. So that's too much of a coincidence to have this all pop up as we're getting sunrise. Right now, we take a look at the Hudson River crossings. The Lincoln and Holland are both reporting 20 minutes across. The GWB has been a little bit heavy today. So look at that. Your lower level on the left is now 40 minutes, and the upper level on the right is 35 to 40. 7:25 is our time, and construction began on the new $250 million White House ballroom with workers demolishing parts of the East Wing ahead of the construction of a 90,000 square foot addition. They never had a grand ballroom. It's the only Capitol building in the world that didn't have one. Usually, if you had a big function and you invited dignitaries from around the world, they used to set up a tent with heaters or air conditioning units outside. And women would complain. Yes, I'm not being misogynistic. This was a fact. Women wearing heels would complain because the tent would be on grass. And if you're a woman who's ever worn heels, then listen. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I won't. That's a whole other discussion for another day. But if you're a woman who's ever worn heels, you cannot wear them on grass or even on grass covered with a mat. You can't walk. So women used to take off their shoes. It was awful. So the president is doing something that has been needed. I love people complaining, you're demolishing part of our history. Almost every president in history has done some kind of demolition and reconstruction of the White House, and they're allowed to do it in their image, whatever they want. The president says he wants to make it match the classical exterior of the White House 100%. He's just doing a needed addition, and it's being paid for entirely by private donations, much of which is coming from him. So this is a gift from the wealthy to America. So Trump announced during an event in the East Room October 20th that construction had begun earlier in the day, and just be thankful. This is all part of America's 250th birthday celebration over the coming years. So when we have gatherings of people from around the world and domestic people, we will have a nice place to celebrate. 7:27, a serious multi-vehicle crash Sunday night on Ringwood Avenue, I should say, in Wanacue. Shut down the road, resulting in a 90-minute delayed opening for local schools because it happened overnight. Two drivers aged 26 and 63 were pronounced dead at the scene. Officials say the crash happened about 8:30 in the evening. So we're just showing a police car from Wanacue because we did not have scene video from the crash, but it had nothing to do with that car. That's just a Wanacue police car. School district leaders apologized that they had to open late. They promised more information as it becomes available. Horrible incident in Manalapan. 4 freshmen at Manalapan High School, and yes, locals say Manalapan, not Manalapan. New Yorkers say Manalapan. They're under investigation after some disturbing social media posts about dressing up as Hitler and Holocaust victims for Halloween. Apparently, some kids thought it was funny. They didn't think about what the Holocaust did, that it nearly exterminated an entire group of human beings. I think kids like this need to be brought into a class and told with somebody pointing to their face, suppose somebody came and broke into your house tonight and killed your mother and father, God forbid, in front of you. What would you feel at that point? That's the only way a kid gets it, because when they talk about it like this, they think, oh, it's the Holocaust. It's something they can't grasp. I think they need to understand what this was for a group of human beings, that the entire existence, young kids in Germany and parts of Poland and Czech in World War II thought life, that's it, Earth was over. And kids need that reality to become sensitized enough to understand you do not ever joke. In fact, I blame that lack of education into why you have all the leftists screaming, calling Trump Hitler and Nazi and fascist, because they don't get what that reference means. Gas from the Holocaust. That's what they were talking about as a joke. Well, school officials and the mayor of Manalapan strongly condemn the comments. They're taking disciplinary steps. I hope they pull the kids aside. Don't kick them out of school, but pull the kids aside. Make sure they know what this means. There should be mandatory Holocaust education, mandatory. And I don't mean a paragraph in the history books, because you know the rule. Those who do not know history are doomed to repeat it. I kind of added that word. The incident has sparked outrage, likely so, in the Jewish community, which is a very large community in Manalapan. Awful. It is 7:29. The Louvre just found itself in a real-life heist movie. Minutes after opening on Sunday morning, the famed Parisienne Museum, the world's most visited, was broken into. If you look at the way the Louvre is maintained, the windows are all rotten. The front of the building is all rotten. It's like, come on, French. They'll spend money on Muslims who come over from other countries. They spend billions on them. But literally, what is the epicenter of Western art, they let fall to crap. So it was a pretty easy heist to take over because the windows are all rotting. So what these guys did, apparently they got this truck that has an aerial lift. It's sort of like, we have bucket trucks in America, you see there? So people just thought they were construction workers hired for the day. This was definitely well planned. They took the bucket and they elevated it to one of the windows. The windows just are all rotten. They pushed right in. And once they got into, this was the balcony outside the Galerie du Apollon, and they sliced right through the window. They got right in. 1, 2, 3. Everybody thought who would think? You would think somebody with a bucket truck had rights to be there, right? Well, they threatened museum staff. They smashed the jewels display cases. They took necklaces, tiaras, and brooches, all within 7 minutes. Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stuff. It's priceless, actually. Nobody was hurt. Police are investigating. The hope, though, is they don't break this stuff up and sell it on the black market. A young humpback whale washed ashore in a sandbar off the Jersey shore and later died. That, according to marine mammal responders. Necropsy results revealed blunt force trauma. So that means that a ship hit it or it swam into a ship. It's part of a troubling rise in whale strandings across New Jersey beaches in recent years. Experts urge boaters, if you see packs of whales, is it pods, not packs, pods of whales, get away, go in the other direction, let them be. They hear the noise, they get disoriented. You have to stay at least 100 feet away. I mean, it's not always easy to do that, but look at that poor thing. That's a mammal and it's dead. And there are dwindling numbers of them. So we want to make sure they're okay. Did you feel the earthquake in New Jersey? New Jersey had a magnitude 1.6 quake near Califon yesterday afternoon at a depth of just over a mile, so it was very shallow. The shaking started 1:46 p.m. It was felt by a handful of people in the area. 1.6 is barely anything. That's like a truck going by in front of your house. There were no reported injuries or damage, and officials say it is not unusual to have a small earthquake of this size in the region. And meet a 101-year-old. Look at this lady. You tell me if this lady, she does not look 101. Yeah, she looks about 71. God bless her. This is New Jersey's own Ann Angeletti. Good old Italian food. There you go. She's a 101-year-old jeweler who still works. She's from Cresskill. She still works not 1, 2, 3, 6 days a week alongside her daughter and granddaughter. She says she'd rather die than stay home. She can't imagine ever retiring. Her secret, daily self-care, exercise, loving what you do. Clearly, she adores it. She looks fat. She's better than me. God bless her. Her lifelong work ethic is inspiring people everywhere, and it should. And a number of Congress members are awaiting Speaker Mike Johnson when he brings the House back from its shutdown recess, including a major brawl over legislation that would ban congressional stock trading. Congressman Chip Roy of Texas said that, we'll tell you why we're showing Mikey here, but Congressman Chip Roy said that he and fellow Republicans are trying to push GOP leaders to put their bipartisan stock trading ban bill on the floor when the House returns, or possibly use what's called a discharge petition to do an end run around Johnson. See, Roy is a member of the House Rules Committee. He said Republicans need to figure out the timing going into November and December for when this legislation can make it. It's currently not illegal for members of Congress to trade stocks using information they glean while they debate bills. That's why a number of members have become multimillionaires, like Speaker Pelosi we showed a moment ago. She went in. She did go in wealthy because her husband's a banker, but she's now worth nearly $500 million from stock trades. In fact, there's even a website, see what Nancy's investing in. And whatever she's investing in, you invest in because she knows some. And then New Jersey Democrat gubernatorial candidate, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, came in worth about $700,000 5 years ago. She's now worth $7 million on admitted stock trades since she joined Congress. Invest in whatever she invests in. There you go. And finally, the Trump administration defended Alina Habba's installation as New Jersey's top federal prosecutor before a federal appeals panel yesterday. The 3-judge panel on the New Jersey Court of Appeals, the Third Circuit, did not seem swayed, though, that Habba is lawfully serving as New Jersey's acting U.S. attorney. Habba was disqualified in August from participating in any of the District of New Jersey's cases as U.S. attorney, though the ruling was put on hold so the Justice Department could appeal. When Haba's interim term ended, New Jersey federal judges, all Democrats, declined to extend her interim status. Shock. Instead, appointing the first assistant U.S. attorney to the post. So her right hand became the head. But Attorney General Pam Bondi fired that choice, which she can do because she is Attorney General. She's the boss of the Justice Department. And so that Haba could remain in that position. Trump did something very clever because he's always playing chess. He appointed her into two posts. Special attorney with all the powers of U.S. attorney, he could create that, and first assistant to replace the woman whom she just got fired, making her the acting U.S. attorney. Now, why can't they do that? That follows all the rules. It might be sneaky, but it follows the rules. DOJ lawyers say those moves are totally valid under federal law and saying that Congress gave the executive branch overlapping mechanisms to deal with vacancies in Senate-confirmed positions like U.S. attorneys. But as you can imagine, the left is squealing like stuck pigs, and the leftists on the court are trying to use their legislative power to overthrow this. But this will be appealed to the Supreme Court, as everything is, and the Supreme Court, wiser hot minds, always restores what Trump wants because he is following the law. The left just hates that they figured out a way around them. So suck it up, Buttercup. Trump got you on this again. When we come back, Eric, the travel guy Hastings, will take us on a trip to Alaska. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're back in one.
Bergen Equestrian in Leonia is the top destination for horse riding, lessons, and exceptional horse boarding facilities on over 23 acres in Overpeck Park. Bergen Equestrian has programs for people of all ages and skill sets, indoor and outdoor riding areas, and a riding lounge. Riders can compete in horse shows and special events. Bergen Equestrian offers horse boarding and rentals, seasonal kids camps, and more. Consider Bergen Equestrian for unforgettable memories with kids' birthday parties, private events, weddings, and school trips. Visit bergenequestrian.com.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Good morning. A chilly 43 degrees on New Jersey morning. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. We start off our day rather cool. There's a chill in the air, but warmer weather is coming in with that gusty breeze, just like yesterday. Temperatures warming into the upper 60s, near 70 at the beaches, 70 or better from Salem back up through Camden and even in Glassboro. A lovely way to enjoy another fall day. Dry weather this afternoon with our average high coming in at about 64 degrees. It will feel a little bit warmer than we're used to, but I think the cooler weather comes in by the end of the week. And with all the clear sky right now, we get a decent amount of sunshine today, helping us to warm well into the mid 60s and even upper 60s, possibly even the low 70s. That is our next tropical system, likely to become Melissa in the next few hours, if not next few days, bringing back a little bit of a gusty wind back here close to home, bringing in a lot of those warm temperatures as well, thanks to sunshine through this afternoon. The rain you see here holds off until tonight, but it'll be a quick hit of wet weather that clears out by tomorrow morning, giving us a beautiful Wednesday, a mix of clouds and sun, but about 10 degrees cooler than today. We kind of step 10 degrees cooler each and every day until we only reach the low 50s by Thursday and Friday. Get one more day of 60 potentially by Thursday, but I think Friday is a little bit cooler. So here's our front that comes in later on this evening, gives us a little bit of rain, cools off for tomorrow, and then we see another cooling trend as well for Thursday into Friday with just heavier on the clouds through the end of the week. Not a whole lot of sunshine until we get to Saturday, bringing back nice weather for the start of the weekend. The end of the weekend could be a little wet. I think there likely will be some showers, at the very least, some extra clouds by Sunday. But until then, notice the cooler trends that will take over and bring back a little bit of wet weather as well. We'll give you more details on the shore points forecast, Ken, coming up.
You know, everybody wants a great travel deal. They want to know what the best plane deal is, what the best cruise deal is, what's the greatest place to go. How many times have you decided what vacation to go on because you had some friends that just got back from Croatia or from Portugal, etc.? Well, I know a guy who knows everything there is to know about travel. He's been to just about every place around the world, and some places twice. It's Eric, the Travel Guy Hastings. You could go to his website, ericthetravelguy.com. That's Eric with a K, and he knows everything about travel. Eric, good morning. Good to have you on.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure, Ken.
It is great to have you on today. And first off, let's talk about that everybody wants the best deal. So what do people do to get the best travel deals?
I do think that that's one of the greatest marketing slogans out there. Why pay more? And here's the dirty little secret about that. The internet is a very big place. The world is a very big place. And the internet, of course, has brought us all together. And there's literally millions of places all vying for your vacation dollar. And while we do enjoy the benefits of that, we also suffer what I consider to be a little bit of travel research fatigue. How many times have you been online, Ken? You start going, you know what? I do want to go to Croatia. Let's go because my friends just went there. And you type in Croatia, and then, oh my gosh, 65 million pages come up. Where do you start? Where do you end? So yes, I think people ask me all the year, how do you get a good deal? And the bottom line is there is no magic bullet to a great deal. Now I know that sounds maybe a little troubling off the top, Ken, but there is a solution.
Yes.
Oh, you want me to continue? I thought you were going to ask a follow-up question. What kind of show is this, Ken? This is ridiculous. All right. Well,
all right.
I do have.
All right. So hear this. What is the solution?
Well, that's a great follow-up question. This is why I like doing this with my friends and friends, because if we're not going to have fun, let's not do it. No, seriously, one of the things that we've talked about over the years, and you and I have talked about this, because I really wanted to solve that question. I really wanted to help people and go, well, how do you get a great deal? And the fact of the matter is, when you understand the entire vacation ecosystem, you begin to understand that the savings actually come incrementally throughout the entire ecosystem, as opposed to, you know, we're going to pay top dollar for this, or we're going to get an okay deal on this, but we're going to get this for absolutely free. No, that usually doesn't happen, because a lot of times, remember, if the deal sounds too good to be true, most of the time it is.
So the other big question too, you talk about understanding the vacation economy system and also when to go. So talk about the vacation. What is the vacation economy system? And then how do you choose the best time to go?
You know, one of the things that I look at, it's very important to understand that every place in the world does in fact have a peak visitor system, a peak visitor season. They have a shoulder season, and they have a what I would consider value season or low season. Nobody wants to say that, but it's when the place maybe doesn't look as perfect as it does in peak season. So when you begin to understand, oh my gosh, Croatia has a peak visitor season. That's when the most number of people are there, and that's when the rates will be, well, as you can imagine, be the highest, right? So that's when you're going to pay the most, probably. Shoulder season are those times surrounding peak season. That's why they call it the shoulder season. And of course, the value season. And that can be by month, sometimes by week. And there are exceptions to that too. So when you start your vacation planning, you have to decide, okay, sometimes you have to go in peak season because of scheduling or because of flight availability or whatever the parameters are. But a lot of times I say, if you can go in shoulder season, you'll save money just by traveling in shoulder season. Maybe you don't want to travel in value season when maybe it's not. Think about going to Stowe, Vermont in the summertime. Mm-hmm. All right, well,
yeah.
That Stowe would probably say, well, summer, I mean, that's part of our peak season too. Yeah, Stowe, take it easy. You're a winter place. Everybody knows it. We love to ski. But let me tell you something. Going to Stowe, Vermont in the summertime is absolutely stunning, as I'm sure you have been. So that's an example of a place that's not their peak season, and you will save money by going there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And a lot of people, in fact, you're right. It in the spring and the summertime, Stowe, Vermont is green and lush. And, well, Vermont is green much of the year. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful state. And there are lots of things to do. If you're not into skiing, you can still find wonderful things to do in Vermont, hiking and beautiful restaurants. And for New Yorkers and New Jersey residents, it's a drive. You could drive it. You don't have to fly there. So that's another beautiful part about that. Also, you talk about respecting the travel day. So the day of the week that you travel can make a big difference in your airfare and things like that, right?
It's absolutely important to understand that when you have a travel day, now, first of all, you know, there's different schools of thought about airports. It really does depend upon your particular airport. And I know, you know, Newark Airport right now and Newark Liberty International is kind of a sensitive topic at the moment because they've got some operational challenges that they will overcome. Believe me, they're not just going to shut down and say, well, you know what, you can drive. So they'll figure it out, give them some time. But there are a lot of people that say, oh, no, no, no. I only fly during this period of time or that period of time. And a lot of times, families like mine, we don't have a lot of flexibility. But I always tell people, look, if you can get on that 6 o'clock in the morning flight, take it. A lot of times those early morning flights, they're terrible to have to get to. Nobody wants to get up at 3:30 in the morning, go to the airport. But the fact of the matter is, the chances of that flight leaving on time are pretty high because why? Like anything else, as the day progresses, the traffic, it starts to increase. And it's not just the traffic in Newark. Remember, you've got all the inbound planes coming from Washington, from Boston, from Atlanta, and those planes start arriving and it gets a little bit busy. That's one of JFK's biggest problems is they've got the space down there that they can park planes for hours at a time. Of course, LaGuardia doesn't have that problem. That's a really small airport. They got to move those planes in and out. So when you have your travel day, please use it as such. It is a travel day. Do not schedule important things on your travel day.
Yeah, really, really important. Don't say, you know what, I'll catch the 6 o'clock flight after working that morning, because chances are if you go out, you'll go out at 9:30 because of that. And it's just, and then by the time you get into your destination, you're exhausted, you're late, you miss your connecting flight, the car, you go to rent a car, the car place is closed. There are a lot of issues that could happen. Very, very,
Yeah.
very true.
And
And by the
you
way,
know,
yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing. Think about it. Remember, a cruise is example. You know, one of the episodes of Beyond Your Backyard right now that we have out is in Alaska. It's an inside passage. It's a phenomenal episode. I loved shooting it. I have been many times. I call it Starter Alaska. It's one of the easiest ways to do Alaska because you fly into Seattle, you fly into Vancouver, you hop on the ship, and you're there for a week. That's what we call a closed loop itinerary, where you go, so you depart and return from the same port of call, right? Very easy to understand. You're certainly seeing lots of wildlife, as you can see in some of the video that we're running. But I one of the things I remind people is, look, the cruise ship is not going to wait for you. They won't. They'll leave. So if you're leaving from Miami or you're leaving from Seattle, you always arrive the night before. Always.
Yeah, and you could relax, you enjoy the hotel, have a nice dinner, a cocktail, and heck, you might fall in love with the community so much you'll come back just to be in that community. You'll come back just to be in Miami, or if you sail out of New York, you'll come back and spend a weekend in New York because you fell in love with that hotel. Who knows? But that's definitely the way to go. I've learned the hard way from one time flying. We'll talk about New Orleans in another segment, but one time I was supposed to fly from Miami to New Orleans, and I looked at the itinerary and I saw 9:32, and I said, all right, we'll get to the airport at 8:32. This is like before 9/11, and get to the airport, and they said, well, great, it was supposed to arrive at 9:32. It was taking off at 7. You're an hour and a half late. And that was Southwest. Thankfully, they said, no problem, we'll put you on the next flight. They didn't charge me anything or anything. They were very nice. Not always going to be the case, though. So pay attention and get there the night before if possible. All right, Eric, the Travel Guy Hastings. That's Eric with a K, ericthetravelguy.com. Also the host of his YouTube series. It used to be on PBS, and that is Beyond Your Backyard. You got about 2.5 million videos. I counted. I actually stayed up last night and counted. It's unbelievable. And before we let you go, tell everybody about your murder mystery dinner theater down in Orlando.
Well, it is just an extension of what I do. You know, when you come to Orlando to vacation, there are things to do outside of the theme parks. And we decided last year, why don't we create, my producing partner Gary and I said, let's create an interactive murder mystery show. We love the genre. We love crime and punishment. We love all that stuff. And so we said, let's do that. It's called The Speakeasy Murder and Other Acts of Prohibition. You're very kind to mention it. Thank you for that, Ken. That's very nice. SpeakeasyMurder.com. It'll run till the end of the year so far. So far.
Good deal. Well, I've been there. I had a great time. The food's good too. So check it out. Eric, the travel guy Hastings, thanks for being with us this morning.
Absolutely.
We vote to protect the Social Security we worked hard for. We vote because family caregivers deserve support. We vote to have a say in our future. For all the reasons why, AARP has information about when, where, and how to vote. Find the information you need to make your voice heard.
Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings at 7:50. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. We start off our day rather chilly down the shore, but this afternoon climb into the upper 60s, a cooler trend over the next few days with a little bit of a step each and every day down into the low 60s and then potentially upper 50s by the weekend. We'll give you more details on the forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you, Mike. It is now a chilly 45 degrees. By the way, National Sandwich Day is coming up on November 3rd. We're turning up the heat on one of America's most beloved comfort foods, the iconic grilled cheese sandwich. It's sticking to the plate because I just heated it in the microwave. From the best cheese combos to the great crust debate, butter or mayo, a new survey breaks down how each state prefers to make this classic. And joining us now to dish it all out, our executive chef, Josh Archibald, and cheese expert, Jill Allen, both from Tillamook, the brand behind some of the most popular cheeses in the country. Good morning, Josh and Jill. And by the way, just so you know, I only realized you guys were on at 11 o'clock last night. This is in my fridge. No lie. I would not lie. And just so everyone knows, we're not sponsored. You're not paying us. That is in my fridge and they're unopened all times. So at 11 o'clock, I made a grilled cheese sandwich that is stuck to the plate because of the cheese. I just reheated it. I love Tillamook cheese. You guys are based out in Oregon, right?
Absolutely, Ken. Thank you so much. We're so glad that you're a fan. Jill and I are here.
I
We're
am.
celebrating all things grilled cheese.
Nice. So tell us, what's special about grilled cheese here? Let me make everybody jealous. Is it the cheesy pull? Look at that. Even with the fact that it's been out of the microwave for a little bit, there's still Tillamook pull there on it. So is it the cheesy pull that makes everybody go, ooh, what is it about it?
You know, we took a survey, and 61% of Americans surveyed said that the grilled cheese sandwich was their favorite sandwich. But the problem is only 25% felt comfortable enough to be experts at it. So Jill and I, we're here this morning. We're joining you to help this.
So tell us, I know there's mayo versus butter. And by the way, just for the record, I say yes. I put mayo on the inside. I put butter on the outside. So tell us, should I be doing the opposite for better toasting or what?
You know, about 71% of consumers told us that butter was their preference. But Ken, sounds like you grew up somewhere close to where I did, and mayonnaise was absolutely the thing that you did. So we wanted, as we developed our iconic sandwich here, we wanted to take kind of the best of both worlds. And so we're mixing the two at a 50-50 blend, and we're smearing it across the bread, top to bottom, side to side.
I knew I loved you both. Jill, I have to ask you, do people really have strong opinions about how you cut your sandwich? Because you could see I cut it diagonally. When I was a kid, if my mother cut it straight across, I would literally get upset. I would go home and tell her, what did you do that for? I look like a geek in school. So what's the deal? Why do we cut it diagonally versus straight?
There is no wrong way to cut your grilled cheese sandwich. There's no wrong way to pair your grilled cheese sandwich. However you want to do to be unique and create your own signature dish is up to you.
That sounds like the way to go. And by the way, I know that a lot of people see, I'm a purist. I just like grilled cheese. And by the way, I use, for real, I take the triple cheddar blend. You guys have a good Mexican blend too at Tillamook. I take the triple cheddar, which is one of my favorites. And then sometimes, if I'm feeling adventurous, I toss on a little mozzarella because sometimes the cheddar for me, if I'm depending on my mood, is a little too sharp. So the mozzarella kind of smooths it out. But the nice thing is you guys have all sorts of cheeses that you could blend together. And I haven't tasted one I didn't like so far.
Well, thank you, Ken. For our iconic sandwich, we're using, just like you mentioned, right? We're using a blend of cheddars. We use a medium and a sharp. But we've got one here that's using mozzarella and kind of trying to capture those summer vibes that we're maybe missing as the daylight wanes this time of year and the cold front sets in. It's got some fresh pesto on it, and we're serving it with a sun-dried tomato aioli too, to capture that summer farmer's market vibe.
Now, I don't know. Some people I know put ham or bacon on there. I think that takes too much away. It's too much salt and fat and pulls away from the creamy quality that you get from the cheese. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You know what, Ken? Pairing your favorite grilled cheese sandwich with whatever item you want is key. And 57% of Americans agree to even using tomato soup. So whatever flavors you want to incorporate into your sandwich to create that beautiful experience for you is what's important.
So Jill, I grew up kind of in the food industry. If you couldn't figure that out so far, my dad owned pizzeria, deli, every kind of eatery you can imagine. So I worked in them, and I remember my dad saying why tomato soup works with grilled cheese, and he said the fat from the mayo or butter and cheese has to get cut by acid, and tomato soup is acidy. So you combine the two, it kind of cuts through the fat, which kind of makes sense, right? Why that is the favorite to have with something creamy like that. Now the question is, grilled cheeses differ from state to state and region to region, right? So talk about some of the regions around the country and how they like their grilled cheese, and then specifically bring it to Jersey for us.
Yeah, so I mean, when surveyed, about 43% of consumers said that they preferred white bread. We are team sourdough here for our signature, and we like it really thick cut. And again, we talked about this mixture of mayonnaise. We're using Kewpie here, and then our butter. It's blended with a little bit of seasoning. We feel like that will bring you kind of best of both worlds, give you that really golden presentation that you're after.
Awesome. Yeah, Kewpie is good. For those who've never tried it, years ago it was hard to find. It's a Japanese mayo. It's a little sweeter than the old Hellmann's that we have on the East Coast, and you guys have Best Foods on the West Coast, right? That's the same thing as our Hellmann's. But it's either way. Again, you can't really go wrong. But there is a little difference between the mayo and the butter. That's why it's nice to use both. They each have their own qualities in that. So, do you know specifically what New Jerseyans like? Did you have that on your list?
Well, we think that they're probably doing white bread. They're leaning on cheddar. They may be a little more prone to snag some mozzarella too. But again, no wrong answers. Get out there, make grilled cheese, throw a grilled cheese party, get together and do it for your next big meal or your next game snack. We feel like there's the creativity there of just having this bread and the cheese inside gives you kind of an empty canvas.
Yeah, I like to say that grilled cheese sandwiches are like pizza. There's never a bad one, right? I think there's never a bad one. It's just a matter of personal taste. There's certain that you like a little more than others, but there's never a bad one. As long as you have, guys, you got to hire me. Come on. As long as you have Tillamook cheese on your grilled cheese sandwich, there's never a bad day. Tillamook, the cheese that pros love to use. Okay. All right. There you go. Now, listen,
You are
I'm going
hired.
to end this.
You're hired, Ken.
I know. Thank you. And I'm going to take you up on it. I know that you guys have another hit to do in a little bit, but I'm just going to end with this. You guys should take a bite too. Oh my God. This is the cheddar. I'm sorry to talk with my mouth full. My mother's going to yell at me. Triple cheddar blend, mozzarella, Tillamook. Executive. Oh, what's your website? What's your website?
Oh, Ken, everybody can come and visit us at tillamook.com for more recipes and our wonderful lineup of ice cream and cheeses and butters.
Delicious. All right, I'm going to cover my mouth. Executive Chef Josh Archibald, cheese expert Jill Allen, both from Tillamook, wonderful cheesery in Oregon, the brand behind some of the most popular cheeses in the country. Thank you both for joining us this morning. Have a great day.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank
You too.
Happy National Sandwich Day. Sorry, my mouth is full. There. Oh, God, that's so good. It is now 7:59. When we come back, schools here and around the nation are crumbling. We're going to speak with independent journalist Dave Bondi. Plus, we'll take your calls, 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings with my mouth full. We're coming right back.
I'm Jack Chitterelli, born and raised right here in New Jersey, where it's never been harder for the middle class. As governor, I have a plan to fix our state. In Congress, the only thing Mikey Sherrill fixed is our bank account.
Well, did you make $7 million in stock trades at all? Or?
I haven't. I don't believe I did, but I'd have to go see what that was alluding to again.
Come on, who wouldn't know if they made $7 million? New Jersey needs a governor who gets it. Mikey Sherrill doesn't. I do.
Good morning. It's 8 a.m. Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a beautiful Garden State forecast. Mike, I still have some cheese in my teeth here. I'm sorry.
I have some Havarti and Gouda upstairs that I'm just trying to find the air fryer. I haven't unpacked it yet, so I can make one. I don't even have a pan.
I should have mentioned. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned Fontina or Gruyere. Fontina or Gruyere.
Okay. All right.
Then you have to do this. Just snuggle up afterward. And
Yeah, right. Exactly. And a Prilosec after that, because the ass is raging back. But it was worth it, right? It was worth it.
Yes, totally.
That's the funny thing with Europeans especially, because they're very anti-medicine. When they see me pop a lactase before I have indulge in the cream and butter, and they're like, "Why would you do that? Just don't eat it." I'm like, "No, we're American. We take medicine so we can eat things like this." We've got some beautiful weather ahead. Yeah, we've got some beautiful weather ahead today. It's a morning maybe for the warm sandwich on National Sandwich Day, bringing back a little bit of a chill, but there's warmer weather on the way this afternoon. And with that, we start off at 39 chilly degrees up in Sussex, 41 in Morristown, 36 in Flemington, even 37 in Toms River. Cool everywhere. But again, we warm through the afternoon. Lots of sunshine today, a little bit of a milder trend by the end of the day once we get beyond that 20-degree cooler start than yesterday as compared to 8:01 in Flemington on Monday morning. 36 degrees, that's your dew point, meaning it is very dry. So the air stays clear today. Have a lot of sunshine to start the morning, and it stays nice and dry through this afternoon. There will be another windy afternoon ahead, especially with those highs that will climb into the low 70s as a result of those 30-mile-per-hour winds on LBI, even 20-mile-per-hour winds tomorrow afternoon, back over toward Trenton with that southwesterly wind component, bringing in more of a milder feel. So we start off this morning in the 30s and 40s, climb to the 50s by later this morning, 60s early afternoon, and some places like Trenton get to 71. It'll feel quite nice. After dark, that's when the rain returns, bringing back a few showers into the overnight, right through the very early morning hours tomorrow. I think the general trend is that it all clears out by tomorrow morning's commute. And we're back to more sunshine, but a little bit cooler, about 10 degrees cooler, in fact, tomorrow with our highs only in the low 60s. For Thursday, it's another sunny afternoon, but another 10 degrees losing temperatures, making it feel a little bit cooler by the end of the day on Thursday. And then Friday, you start off in the 30s, climb only into the upper 50s and low 60s. So that cooler, cloudier trend is on the way, bringing back really what should feel like October this time of year with that nice dry trend as well into the next few afternoons. So as we head into the weekend, we enjoy our last day of the 70s because it's only 60s tomorrow, and then barely getting to 60 on Friday with some 50s on the way. We'll tell you more about the weekend weather, Ken. That's coming up in a few minutes.
Dave Bondi is an independent journalist who spent decades as a mainstream media TV news anchor. He left the biz several years ago and started his own blog and podcast called Keeping It Real with Dave Bondi on Substack and other platforms. He's here this morning to talk about an issue that's big in the Midwest right now and also affecting school districts here in New Jersey. Good morning, Dave Bondi.
Good morning. It's great to be on here once again. Yeah, we have a big controversy going on in Michigan, and it's happening nationwide as well, and it's all about education. Michigan, we fall into 44th in the nation when it comes to test scores, reading scores. I haven't looked into how New Jersey or New York's doing, but it's a struggle here.
Yeah, well, New Jersey was number 2 at one point in the nation just a few years ago, and we have now dropped from number 2 to number 15. And part of the problem is in the good districts, the quote-unquote good districts, it's great. But the problem is we have big urban centers where people can't get out of a 4th grade reading level. And when you mix them together, that's what you get. So we have now, because of the influx primarily of, and this is not to paint it with a broad brush, primarily the influx of illegal migrants. And by law, we have to educate everybody's children, and we should. I'm fine with that, because otherwise you end up with bigger problems down the line. But the problem is, because that happens, you have kids who come in who don't know the language, and we do have ESL here. That's essential. But overall, it then brings down the grade level. And if you could tie directly to when we had the huge influx in the last few years of illegal migrants to where we dropped from 2nd in the nation to 15th in the nation, in spite of the fact that we are spending 1st or 2nd, I think, per pupil, highest in the country. It's like $30,000 per pupil.
Yeah, they just passed a new budget in Michigan, $23,000 per student. The Detroit school district amongst the worst. So throwing money at the problem is not helping. And now the controversy the State Board of Education is trying to adopt a program from Massachusetts, the curriculum, to change the health curriculum. They're trying to intertwine health and sex education into one. And with it comes more gender ideology. And parents are not happy about it. And they tried sneaking it through somewhat in the middle of the night. And I published it on my Substack, and others got it out there. There was a big meeting yesterday at the Capitol in Michigan. 30 parents spoke. They delayed the vote. And that's causing a big issue. And then you have the Trump administration, who has spoken out, as you know, against all the states, saying, we're going to take away your money if you implement these things. And it sounds like Michigan they're going to push back. They're going to test it to see how far it can go. So we're getting in the middle of that fight in Michigan. And Michigan went for Trump, but Michigan has a Democratic governor, attorney general. We have a race for governor next year. Governor Whitmer is termed out, so we'll have a new governor. But it's getting interesting. And at the same time, our education system is failing. It's going down. More kids are homeschooling. We're losing. Every district is losing more kids, either homeschooling or charter schooling. I interviewed a dad the other day who moved to Florida just because of their school choice. He literally grew up in Michigan. He left to go to Florida just because of the school choice opportunity.
Interesting. And that's been the case in New Jersey. In fact, New Jersey has had such a flight to Florida and by the way, New Jersey people tend to move to the East Coast, and Midwestern people tend to move the West Coast to Florida, just for what it's worth. Because I live in Florida part-time, and it's just so funny. You go visit friends in Naples or whatever, and they're like, yep, I'm from Ohio. And then you go to the East Coast, Fort Lauderdale, and everyone's like, yo, I'm from New York. How you doing? Just hang up by the pool.
He lives in Tampa.
Yep. There you go. West Coast, East Coast. Perfect. Exactly. Beautiful city, Tampa, by the way. But yeah, and in New Jersey, we also had among that, everything that you just discussed, we've encountered. It tends to happen that way because all the school administrators communicate with each other and they say, that's a good liberal idea. We want that here too. We had a situation of a law that passed in one town in New Jersey where if a child or student, commits a crime several times, now a parent can be charged with the crime and could be fined, etc. And part of it is because the liberals in the state of New Jersey, I almost said Connecticut, state of New Jersey, they have liberals too there. But the liberals here decided, let's just get rid of all these stigmatizing laws against children. If they're under 18, even though at 17 they could reproduce and get a car and slash someone's throat. No. Let's not have any punishment of anybody. They don't even have juvenile delinquent laws anymore. They're all gone. So as a result, kids have no consequences when they commit crime. And that's why you have carjackings in the city of Newark that are rampant, because gangs take 15-year-old kids, teach them how to carjack, and now if they get arrested, nothing happens to them. That's what it's given us, because this is the liberal mindset. Liberals are fine with crime because it's the victimizer and victim mentality. And if you check certain boxes, you're a victim. And it doesn't matter if you commit crimes against the victimizer colonialist because they have it coming to them. That's the socialist liberal mindset that has been instructed in our state.
It's just amazing how even states like Mississippi now are in the top 5 in levels with reading and writing. And a big problem is the teachers' unions. I hate to say it, but I've been learning so much over the last few years and studying the teachers' unions. There are great teachers out there, but the higher echelon of teachers' unions don't seem to care about the kids at all.
Absolutely not. And that is the case. The teachers' unions are all headed up by leftists. Even though some of the rank and file are somewhat in the middle, you have leftists. Hey, perfect example. We have a gubernatorial race happening here in New Jersey right now, Dave, and it's neck and neck right now. And of course, the whole nation is watching. But it's Mikey Sherrill and Jack Ciattarelli. We just had Jack on the other day, and it's literally, depending on what poll you look at, it's doing that, But it's a state where we have 860,000 more registered Democrats than Republicans. So the fact that it's neck and neck is not good news for the Democrat, because she should be 10 points ahead right now. And there's only one poll. One poll, I think, has her 9 points ahead. But that same poll, if you go back 4 years, had Governor Murphy 11 points ahead, and he only won by 3 a week later. So it shows you how off the polls are, because they tend to oversample Democrats over Republicans, so they get a higher number of Democrats responding, and it looks like the Democrats ahead. I think right now they're probably about a point. Somebody's going to win by about a point and a half. That's where it is. But when asked flat out about school choice and whatnot, it's always the Republican governor. The man wanting to be governor, Jack Ciattarelli, is for school choice. And meanwhile, you have the woman who's running against him, Mikey Sherrill, who's has not expressed an opinion on that. She's also not expressed an opinion on whether she would raise taxes, which to me says, yep, just my opinion. She didn't say it. She just says, I won't commit myself to that. To me, that the answer is yep. Yeah. And on and on. And now she's accusing the man she's running against of being a murderer. So go figure.
Yeah, I'm sure, and how much money she's getting from teachers' unions, quite a bit, I'm sure.
Well, and there was another Democrat who ran for governor in the primary and didn't win, but his name is Siller, and he was the president of the New Jersey Teachers Union.
I remember that, yeah.
Millions came into him, and by the way, he was in last place. He had to drop out. He only qualified to show up at the debates because of all the money he had in the coffers, but 99% of that money came from the teachers union that he was in charge of. So now there are teachers suing, saying, wait a minute, we didn't put our dues in to get you to run for governor. I'm sorry.
Good.
It's interesting. It's just interesting to say the least. But Democrats have their own mindset. It's like, and I think that's why there is such polarization. We talk like this now because we're not even on the same plane. We would never think it's okay as Republicans to be the head of an organization and take all the dues from that organization to make you run, to fund you to run for an office that you didn't even do research on to see you were going to be in last place. Millions of dollars.
But hopefully they're waking up, like what's happening in New Jersey with that case right there. And here, I think people are slowly waking up. I'm talking to teachers and even UAW members. The left is putting their money in places like with the Middle East, Hamas, and the situation. The UAW is putting a lot of money into that. Even independents, union people are waking up and saying, I don't think I want my money going to that.
And it's about time. It's about time. And at the same time, you have more and more cases around the country of people waking up, finding out that their child is having to share a locker room with somebody of the opposite sex who believes they are not of the opposite sex. That's a psychological issue that I don't need and I don't have kids, but if I did, I don't need my kid having to be the experiment for. It's just unfair. You have right now, in fact, we just watched on Fox yesterday, a parent whose child was in a school, and there was a young woman who was naked changing in the locker room with the boys. There was never even a mention as to whether this person was trans or not. I don't even know if that enters into it. The issue is whether anyone of any gender has the right to go into any other gendered locker room and use it. The boys, somebody started rolling on the audio. They weren't pointing at the body, so there was no visual of the nudity. But one of the boys said, we need to record what's going on here verbally. I thought it was very smart that he did that without recording the physical. And you heard boys saying, why is there a female in our room right now with naked boys here? I don't feel comfortable. I'm putting on a towel. And that was part of the conversation. The school district suspended the boys.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. And the school did. By the way, there were other cases in the past. The school district didn't do the same thing when it was in the opposite. But in this case, the school district is suspended the boys, and a judge is ordering the parents to pay the school district's legal costs. So your kid goes to a school, he is forced to be naked in front, because he has to change. You force your kid to go to school, right? The school district forces your kid to go to school. They force your kid to go to gym. The kid is doing everything they're supposed to. They have to change in order to get to their next class. And then you force upon them somebody of a different gender, naked. And then when the kid has a natural 13, 14-year-old reaction, you sue the parents? This is the sickness that is liberalism, and this is why, Dave, they're going to lose.
That is an advertisement for homeschooling right there.
There you go. Unfortunately, not every parent can afford to do it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So that's maybe an advertisement for a Christian school or a Hebrew school.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, I could talk to you for days. Dave Bondi, independent journalist, spent decades as mainstream media, TV news anchor, did the wise thing like me, although I was kind of forced out. You did it on your own, which was smart.
I would have been forced out eventually.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to be in the next couple of years, and I feel bad for my friends. I got the head start. I look at it that way, both of us. Dave now has his blog and podcast, Keeping It Real with Dave Bondi, on Substack and other platforms. Always a pleasure to have you on, my friend, Mr. Dave Bondi. Have a great day, sir.
I'm Jack Chitterelli, born and raised right here in New Jersey, where it's never been harder for the middle class. As governor, I have a plan to fix our state. In Congress, the only thing Mikey Sherrill fixed is her bank account.
Well, did you make $7 million in stock trades at all? Or?
I haven't. I don't believe I did, but I'd have to go see what that was alluding to again.
Come on, who wouldn't know if they made $7 million? New Jersey needs a governor who gets it. Mikey Sherrill doesn't. I do.
Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 817, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Lots of sun today. Really feels like a spring day. Highs about 70, although it doesn't feel like a spring day as you walk out the door because it's only 42. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. And Mike, I could hear my beloved late grandmother right now, Ada Drudi, right now saying, "This is how you're going to get sick." She didn't talk like that, but I'm just creating this sound. She actually spoke beautifully. But this is how you get sick. It's cold out. You're going to go out without a jacket. You're going to get sick when it gets hotter, and you're going to sweat. There. I've warned everybody.
Okay, that time my mic really was off. I really had my mic off that time. See that?
You see, I'm looking down right now. I'm thinking I disconnected something.
And I forgot to do the trick. I was just telling the director, I put the microphone here so I never forget it, and I forget it. So it's one of those.
See, that's called karma.
It got me back. It got me back. It's one of those mornings, Ken, like you said, that'll make it feel chilly. You step outside, especially with wet hair, that will really feel chilly. With all of that very dry air in place, allowing for that moisture to evaporate quickly, making for a little bit of a chill. Well, this afternoon, we warm quickly into the low 70s yet again. So starts off very chilly, warms very quickly throughout the afternoon. 70 in Matawan and New Brunswick, and even over down the shore in the upper 60s. clear sky across New Jersey. It looks beautiful right now, but there is some rain marching toward us. Right now, it's over the Midwest, and it'll work its way here into this afternoon. I think we see clouds around sunset, and then the rain gets going probably shortly after 9 or 10 p.m., giving us some wet weather overnight. It doesn't really raise the humidity all that much. It'll still feel quite dry through tomorrow, with another reinforcing shot of dry weather throughout the afternoon, and then another breezy day ahead as we look into the middle of the week. But cooler weather ahead by the end of the week, bringing back a little bit of that cloud cover as well. By noon on Sunday, you see all the clouds around. Maybe there could be a sprinkle working through, but I still think the better half of the weekend will be Saturday with nice dry weather. And then Monday into Tuesday of next week looks quite dry. I think Wednesday of next week is our next opportunity to see some substantial rain. Beyond that, a little bit of a sprinkle tonight, and fast forwarding to the weekend, by Saturday we get to 60, mostly sunny skies. The threat of a little shower is still there, I think, for Sunday going into Monday. We'll tell you more about it with the 7-day forecast coming up, Ken, in just a few minutes.
All right. Very good, Mike. Thank you. I was going to do it to you too. I was going to say, just to see what you would do.
But still, I haven't found my monitor yet, so you're still upside down in mirror image. So it would just kind of look like, a monkey hanging from a tree at this point, because it's upside down.
My friends and relatives say I look like a monkey hanging from a tree anyway, so it's a good thing. All right, sir. We appreciate you, Mike. We'll check back with you. 42 degrees right now, northern New Jersey. We have 42 in Trenton as well, and 40 degrees down at Cape May. We have 41 in Vineland, New Jersey at 8:20, and we have a lot of traffic. A crash now on Route 38, both directions. Martyr Road in Mount Laurel Township with all lanes closed, and there's emergency construction now down toward Philadelphia. Betsy Ross Bridge westbound in the vicinity of Pennsylvania side of Philadelphia with all lanes closed at the exit ramp to 95 northbound. So as you're coming in from Philly over the Betsy Ross Bridge into like toward Trenton, this is a problem right there. We have a wreck, we're told. Thank you. 295 at Devon Avenue. Let's take a look at that right now. And this is, again, oh, there you go. Pam is just eagle-eyed. This is 295 at Eagle Avenue. So here at Devon Avenue. So what you have is the sun behind them. So you can see they are headed south. I guess, no, they're headed westbound, right? They're headed westbound. No, I'm wrong, Pam. I can't get my directions. They're headed westbound. So that means the sun is behind them, and that's causing some glare from the back. I always say it's got to be sun causing these accidents because they're happening at specific times. So that's what you have right now on 295. We also have a crash on 295 southbound north of exit 28, Black Horse Pike and Hatton Heights with the left shoulder closed, and a vehicle fire now on the Garden State Parkway, and it's northbound at 195 in Wall Township. All lanes open, but very heavy through there. We have another problem on the Garden State northbound south of 63A Route 72 east in Eagleswood Township. All lanes are open, but very heavy, and a crash on the Garden State northbound just south of 91BA, which is Chambers Bridge Road in Brick, with all lanes open. Let's look at the approaches of the Hudson River now. The Lincoln and Holland both reporting 25 minutes, and the GWB upper and lower levels just jam-packed right now. You can see on the left side is the lower level, right side upper, neither one moving. We're told 45 to 50 in, so good luck getting into Manhattan. 8:22 with just 2 weeks away from Election Day. The governor's race certainly heating up. A new polling from Fairleigh Dickinson University gives us a snapshot of where things stand. To help us break down the numbers, we bring in our friend Dan Cassino. He's been here before. He's the executive director of the FDU poll. He's been tracking political trends in New Jersey for years, and his team's latest poll shows Mikey Sherrill with a 7-point lead over Republican Jack Ciattarelli. Dan, good morning. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure, Ken. Good to talk with you.
Good to talk to you. Now, the polls are everywhere. It's so hard to judge. 1 minute Cheryl's ahead, then there are the private polls, and that. What is it about polling in general today? Is it that people just don't pick up their phones like they used to? Does that cause an issue?
So it does cause an issue, although basically we have very good ways of dealing with that. We can use survey weighting. That's not really a problem. We're seeing basically every poll that is using, gold standard methodology like we use, live callers and text messages and working from voter list samples. They're all giving about the same results. Cheryl up by between 5 and 8 points. So the real question is the likely voter model. Now, as a pollster, I hate polling elections. Every pollster hates polling elections. It's not what we want to do because it doesn't actually make any impact on the world, because After all, I'm going to find out who wins the election same time you do on election night. We're all going to find out together. So we'd much rather be doing polls of issues, things that state legislatures are paying attention to. But when we're doing polls of elections, we have this additional level of complication. We have to try and figure out who's going to vote. When I call up voters in New Jersey, registered voters, 80% of them say they're going to vote in the gubernatorial election. Now, Ken, you and I both know half those people are lying. Turnout's going to be 40, maybe 42%. So those people are lying. We have to figure out who's lying and who's not. And the people who are lying vote different than people who aren't lying. So depending on what your likely voter model is, you're going to get very different results. So generally,
I'm with you. I'm sorry to step on you. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, generally we assume that people who are going to vote in this election are people who voted in one of the last 2 gubernatorial elections or people who are newly registered to vote. Great. That's our likely voter model. However, if you're the Ciattarelli campaign, you're looking to go, no. There's a whole bunch of people who never vote in gubernatorial elections who are going to vote in this one. And if you try and poll those folks, it looks better for Ciattarelli. And this is something that there's no scientific way to figure out who's right. All we can do is look at what's happened in the past.
And you guys, Fairleigh Dickinson has been smack on. You guys are just so careful about what you put out. So I think anyone would be very wise to be very, very observant of whatever your results are. What does the Cheryl showing suggest about party enthusiasm and voter preference at this stage of the game?
So enthusiasm is really difficult to measure. And to some extent, enthusiasm doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't matter simply because it doesn't matter how enthusiastic you are, you don't get to vote twice. So you need to get to a certain level of enthusiasm to actually turn up and vote in the polls. After that, it doesn't help you very much to have voters that are more enthusiastic than that. We don't have good measures of enthusiasm here. All voters say that they're enthusiastic. Cheryl voters say they really like Cheryl. Ciattarelli voters say they really like Ciattarelli. So we're not seeing big gaps there. There are some interesting things going on. So both candidates are well liked. They've both brought their parties together. There was some concern after a really divisive Democratic primary that Cheryl was going to have trouble putting together progressives and liberals and moderate Democrats, bring them all into the camp. She seems to have done that. Just so, Ciattarelli seems to have gotten moderate Republicans and MAGA voters all in the same camp. Everyone's lined up behind their own candidates. There's basically no undecided voters left, the people who are likely to vote. And of course, we've got lots and lots of people who have already voted, which just is an extra level of complication in doing the polling.
Yeah, that is an issue. I mean, while it's always nice to give people the opportunity, as much opportunity as possible, when I was a kid, early voting meant the day before election day, and I'm 58, Dan. The day before election day, if you had a physical challenge or you were senior citizen, you got to vote. That was voting early. Boom. Everybody else stand in line. The idea of having a month or 5 weeks, to me, anything could happen. We could find out that a candidate's an axe murderer, and now what? You've cast your vote, and that's that. You can't go back and take it back. So one thing I wanted to ask you about, back in 2021, Jack Ciattarelli came close, obviously, to beating Governor Murphy. 3.2% was the difference. All the polls leading up to the election suggested that Murphy would flatten Ciattarelli. In fact, I know, and this is not your polling company, but the Monmouth University poll said 11 points that Murphy would win by 1 week before to the day. But then a week later on election day, it was only a 3.2 point margin. So what accounts for that? Is it that people just are not being, as you said, 100% frank when they're interviewed on the phone?
I don't think it's not they're being frank about who they're going to vote for. People are generally pretty good about that. The biggest problem, again, number one, likely voter model, and figure out who actually is going to turn out to vote. We saw in 2021 and in 2024 is that a whole bunch of Democrats just stayed home. And this was mostly in 2021, this is mostly in what we call the urban core areas in Newark, Elizabeth, Camden, where a whole bunch of voters just didn't show up to vote for Governor Murphy in 21. And in 24, we saw places like, Passaic County, especially places like Patterson, Democratic voters just stayed home. There's a reason Republicans did so well in Patterson in 24 is because Democrats just didn't want to come out and vote for, Harris or Biden. So if people just don't show up in the polls, show up at an election day, there's no way to model that. And I think that's what threw Monmouth off, is just their likely voter model just wound up collapsing. Now, if you talk to Democrats today, they're going to say, yeah, we understand. We've got this long-term trend of decreasing voter turnout among Black and Hispanic voters, especially Black and Hispanic men. It's not that they're necessarily going Republican. It's just that they're voting less and less frequently. And as a result, the Democrats say that they've actually shifted their efforts to the suburbs, and they think they can win without having high turnout in Newark and Elizabeth and Camden. But as we saw in 2021, if they don't have the high turnout there, it becomes a very long night.
All right. Well, listen, we got about 30 seconds left. You know that New Jersey tends to lean blue, but people tend to sway back and forth every 8 years, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. So based on your research, who do you feel is more likely to show up and vote, and who do you think is going to set it out based on what you're finding from talking to people on the phone?
Look, the vibes on this election are saying that it's very, very close and very tight. All the data seems to be showing that Cheryl is doing well. Cheryl is making the numbers she needs to, but it is a real contrast with those vibes that show increased enthusiasm for Chitterelli.
All right. Dan Casino, tell us a website for people to read more about your poll.
Publicmind.fdu.edu is where you can find all of our latest releases.
Awesome. This is Dan Casino, folks, Executive Director of the Fairleigh Dickinson University poll, the FDU poll. Dan, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for all your insight. We appreciate you.
Always fun to do. Thanks, Ken.
You bet. You have a great one. 8:29 right now. When we come back, he missed prom in his senior year of high school to compete on the Netflix show Is It Cake? We're going to speak with master baker Justin Ellen. This guy is awesome, and you got to check out his videos online too. Phone lines are open. We're going to take your calls at 888-658-0234. Sunshine today, highs about 70. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 30.
Our Stable Life, New Jersey's first equine wellness center. Are you or a loved one suffering from PTSDs, trauma, or life challenges? Consider non-riding equine therapy, where the soul is touched by the presence of a horse with a certified counselor. Our Stable Life is a non-profit at Bergen Equestrian Center in Leonia, New Jersey. We partner with individuals, groups, and agencies to help people recover from addiction, trauma, phobias, and more. Explore equine therapy for healing. BergenEquestrianCenter.com.
Very good morning. It is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, a chilly 47 degrees now at 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Lots of sun today, highs about 70. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. We've got a beautiful day ahead. Clear sky, lots of sun, and a warm up through this afternoon. Even though we started off rather chilly this morning, look at the satellite, not even picking up a single cloud across New Jersey. So a pretty bright and beautiful day down the shore. Your highs climb into the upper 60s. Yes, at the beach in October. I know it'll feel quite warm, even west of the Parkway toward Hamilton and Camden, low 70s for you. And again, that's measured in the shade. You stand in the sun, it's going to feel so much warmer, well above our average high of 64 degrees. So we zoom on back to New Jersey, keeping it clear throughout this afternoon. Likely some clouds returning by the end of the day, with the gusts right now not all terrible. And then this looking a little more organized, likely to become Melissa in the next few hours or days. Our forecast keeping temperatures warm through this afternoon. Then the clouds come in after sunset and bring back a threat of some light rain, briefly heavy at times, and then it all exits by tomorrow morning, leading to a dry morning commute, but obviously roadways will be wet. By the afternoon hours, a mix of clouds and sun, but temperatures much cooler by about 10 degrees. We only make it to the upper 50s and low 60s throughout the day tomorrow. Winds will still be gusty, but the winds relax for Friday with a mix of clouds and sun again. It's a cloudier, cooler scene for the rest of the week. So beyond today, which really is a beautiful day, we'll see a little bit of an increased chance of showers tonight. More clouds tomorrow, more clouds Thursday, but in general, a cooler trend that'll make it feel and look more like October right into the weekend. Speaking of, the 7-day forecast has plenty of cloud cover for Saturday and especially Sunday. I think Saturday starts off clear, but gradually transitions cloudy by the afternoon. Only 59 on Sunday. That'll feel quite chilly. And then the shore points also cool there as well after a beautiful day today. Notice the cooling trend down into the low 60s each afternoon, even only the upper 40s by the overnight. And each morning, I think by Monday of next week, could see our next round of light rain Sunday into Monday down the shore as well. So a little bit of a fall feel around here, Ken, taking us into the weekend.
All right, an F squared, a fall feel Thank you very much, Mike Favetta. We appreciate it. 8:33 right now. It's a chilly 42 degrees, northern New Jersey, 42 in Trenton as well, 41 down at Cape May, and it's 41 in Vineland at 8:33. In terms of traffic, we have a bit of a mess here on I-295. There's a crash southbound north of exit 28, which is Route 168, Black Horse Pike and Haddon Heights. The left shoulder is closed there, and you can see the traffic headed toward us here in the slowness of that. That's what's being caused by. We have a crash investigation, Route 38, both directions by Martle Road and Mount Laurel Township, with all lanes closed eastbound. The left lane is closed westbound, causing a bit of a mess. And as you get toward the Philadelphia area, inbound traffic on 95 right now over the Betsy Ross Bridge is an absolute mess. We have emergency construction on the westbound side, and that is causing all lanes being closed by the ramp to I-95 northbound, which heads eastbound. So that's just an absolute mess, east and north, as you're coming out of Philly into New Jersey. We have a vehicle fire on the Garden State Parkway right now, and let's see where that is. That is northbound at 195 and Wall, with all lanes open but causing a slowdown. Another crash on the Garden State northbound entrance ramp at exit 81, Lakehurst Road and Toms River, all lanes open but again causing a bit of a brake check. And we have a crash on the Garden State northbound south of 63A, Route 72 east in Eagleswood Township, with all lanes open. Delays now reported at the Holland Tunnel. We're told it's 25 to 30 from New Jersey in, actually from Tunnelly Circle in, it's about 35 minutes. It's 35 minutes at the Lincoln right now, and a mess at the GWB upper and lower levels, 40 to 45 minutes either way. Lower is on your left and upper is on your right. 8:35 right now is our time, and we all remember how important prom and graduation were in high school, but imagine missing both for a chance at a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And that is exactly what our next guest did, New Jersey native Justin Ellen. He was just 18. He put prom and education on hold to compete on the Netflix baking show, the huge show, Is It Cake? Since then, he's built an impressive career creating stunning cakes for celebs like Mary J. Blige, Lotto, and Sherry Shepherd. Now, Justin teaches baking classes to people of all ages, sharing his unique techniques and passion. Just got to keep him away from the dough because he loves to eat it as he's cooking. That's what he does. I do the same thing. He has his own company now, Everything Just Baked, and he joins us this morning. Justin Ellen, you are awesome. I look at your videos and I'm thinking, this guy is so phenomenal. Like, you just tell the world, be my friend. You are awesome. When did you start getting into baking? When did you first find this love?
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me. But I started when I was young. Ever since I was a child, I loved to bake. I loved to eat. And my grandma would bake all the time. And she was crazy because she made everything from scratch. I'm talking pies, breads, cookies. If you could think of it, she made it. And I just grew up with that and I just loved it.
I mean, were you ever overweight? Because like you look like thin in good shape, and the way you love that food and the sugars, you should be like 800 pounds.
I know, I got lucky. I've been skinny my whole life. Hopefully it never catches up to me.
Amen to that. You have an enthusiasm and a joy that makes it's addictive. You can't, when you watch one of your videos, you got to watch the next, you got to watch the next. It is just so cool to see. By the way, I tried your buttercream recipe, and yes, it is amazing. It is very, very cool. You have
Thank
the way you reverse cream. I watch how you reverse cream stuff in the doughs and stuff. Very, very smart. And it does come fluffy, your vanilla cakes. I see I'm paying attention. So now you've made it. I have friends who are in the baking world. You've become a superstar among bakers, especially here in the tri-state. So what is that like when you meet other people who are in the industry now?
It always means so much when I meet other people who are bakers or who even just watch my videos and don't even like fully like to bake, who are a little scared. Just I hope to like inspire people to get in the kitchen because that's where all the fun happens. That's where memories happen. And let's say you want to make a cake, but it turns out a little ugly. Oh, well, you just got to eat some cake, you know? It's about having fun and just enjoying the time.
See, I love that because I'm a cook. I'm not a baker.
Okay.
Baking is precise. Cooks are a little of this, little of that, little of this. There's a big difference. Yours is a more scientific approach, right? You have to measure everything or else you could screw up a whole batch. But yet to look at your cakes, there's such art. So would you say being a baker like you are is 50% artist and 50% cook, if you will, mixing the two?
Baking is definitely a science and an art. That's why I love it so much because, for instance, the cakes, you can make it into a hyper realistic cake, whether it's like a shoe, you can make it into a wedding cake, or you can make it into a sculpted cake of your favorite character. So I just love the balance because you have to measure out precisely. Otherwise, it's gonna be a dry cake, and who wants a dry cake? But that's where the fun and the beauty is in baking. That's why I love it so much. I'm team baker. I don't like to cook as much. Baking, that's where it's at.
Well, because there's so much effort. It's so precise. Listen, I could find a lot of bakers who can get by with cooking. There aren't a lot of cooks who could get by with baking. It just does. Every
Mhm.
time I bake, my stuff sucks. I'm just going to tell you, my stuff sucks. But yet I was raised in the industry, so I know how to cook. One of my dear friends, his name is Daniel Colonel. He's a baker in Manhattan. He does custom cakes. He did. Oh my gosh, now I'm forgetting. Forget it. He did a couple of name weddings too, but not to quite to your level. But nonetheless, he always used to tease me and say, "I could cook, you can't bake," and it's 100% true. So tell us now what it was like being on the set and competing on Is It Cake? You were just 18 years old. That's a serious
Mhm.
deal. What was that like?
Being on Is a Cake was definitely a once in a lifetime experience. I was 18, I was so young, and I just made the cut. I just turned 18. It was my first time flying, first time being on TV, first time being away from family. So it was a lot of first times. I'm not gonna lie, I was stressed, I was scared, but I'm so glad I did it because it was life changing. It helped my career so much. I've met amazing people that I'm still friends with today. And it kind of got me like interested in the TV world now. Now, like I want to go back. I want more of it.
Why not? You should be doing
Exactly.
your own. Listen, at Food Network or their opposite, well, not their opposite, their side channel, the cooking channel, you should be doing a show. There's no reason. And
Hmm.
plus, you know what? Or as folks will tell you, because I was on Channel 7 for 20 years in New York, and now I do this. Streaming is where it's at right now. This is where it's growing. You know all your friends, you're in your early 20s. How many of your friends watch broadcast TV? Not too many. They're all streaming,
Yeah.
watching Netflix. That's what they watch. That's what I watch now, right? And they streaming shows like this and like, what we're talking about. We got to get you hooked up. We'll talk to my executive producer after the show. We'll get you hooked up, my friend.
I
So now
appreciate
since
it.
no, why not? You have everything that says superstar in the making. You're all set.
Thank you.
Since the show now, you've worked with a lot of big names. How did you get like a Mary J. Blige on the radar? How did that happen?
Mhm. It's actually a very funny story. That's why I tell people always put your best foot forward because you never know who someone knows. I was making a cake for just a regular client, or so I thought, and she loved her cake. She called me up one day. I was like, "Hey, do you know I'm best friends with Mary J. Blige? I cook for her all the time." I was like, "What do you mean you're best friends?" And she was like, "Her birthday's coming up. You want to make her birthday cake?" And I made Mary J. Blige's birthday cake. I went to her birthday party. It was an amazing experience. Now I've made like 3 or 4 cakes for her because they just repeat customer. But I always tell people, put your best foot forward because you never know. Your neighbor might know Beyonce. You really don't know.
It's so true. Listen, the woman I used to anchor with at Channel 7, Lori Stokes, this woman knew everybody. She used to live up in Tenafly and right near Alpine. So every rapper, she would just like casually drop names. Oh, I was with Malak Rock. That Malak Rock. And she would just do that. And I'd be like, really? At the time, I was in Belleville. I'm in Belleville. I just went shopping at the ShopRite. That was the way our conversations went. So what is your favorite for those of us who are foodies and those out there who are bakies? What is your favorite cake or baking technique to teach others?
Ooh, okay. So I feel like cakes I feel like get a bad rep because when you think of cakes, you kind of think of like Walmart, ShopRite, and it's like, oh, I'm not a fan of cake. I always say it's because you haven't had my cake. And my secret is you have to use a balance of both butter and oil because oil is moisture. So even if you put it in the fridge, it will still stay soft. If you think of butter, it solidifies. So that gives you like a dry cake. So the secret is to do both. And I promise you, you'll never have a dry cake.
I saw how much oil you had added, and you use neutral flavored oils, right? Not like an olive oil. Although people do use olive oil sometimes, but some of them might
Correct.
be a
It
little
just depends. Do you
gassy.
want the flavor of olive oil? That's like really the thing. Personally, I don't want that in my cake as much, unless it's like intended to. But I like to do a neutral oil, whether it's avocado, canola, vegetable. It doesn't matter. And I'm team salted butter. I know it's a little controversial. You're supposed to use unsalted when you're baking, but my family always use salted butter, and I think it just tastes better.
Look, you're right. When I was younger, it was all about like all the serious chefs said, no, we use unsalted. But today, you're right. A lot of the chefs and the bakers have come back. I have both in my fridge, and I use
Okay.
unsalted. I like unsalted on bread, but yet it's funny when I have an English muffin, I use salted. I don't know why. I guess
Okay.
English muffins are just bland, and I do. So I think there's definitely a place for both, and
hmm
clearly it's worked for you. So I wouldn't
hmm
mess with success. What is next for your company? You have everything just baked. What are some exciting projects or goals you have on the horizon?
hmm So I have something very exciting coming out. I can't fully say, but it's gonna be on TV, which is coming out during the holidays. I'm also planning to release my own products. I feel like nowadays, I feel like there's no modern baking companies. And I feel like we're missing that spot. I think people are intimidated by baking, and it's very like old fashioned. I think we need to hypen it up a little, make it more modern, more fun, more inviting. So I plan to release my own product like vanilla bean paste, which is my favorite ingredient. It gives so much flavor. People don't know about it, but it's like think vanilla extract 10 times better. It's just so good. And I hope to keep sharing recipes on my blog that could get people, again, excited about baking because that's what it's all about. If I can make someone inspired to get in the kitchen, then my job is completed.
And what is your website for everything just baked?
My website is everythingjustbaked.com. My social media is at everythingjustbaked on all platforms. And yeah.
This guy is going to be a superstar, folks. Watch, look at that handsome face right there. He's going to be a superstar. He's already a star in the baking world.
Thank
You
you.
please promise me I want you back on a regular basis. Will you come back?
Absolutely. Yes. I'd
Until
be
Food
honored.
Network gives him the $10 million contract, then he's going to say, Ken who? Ken who? No, I know you're a Jersey boy, man. You're gonna be back. Justin, I'm a huge fan. I wish you nothing but tons of success. God bless you, and God bless Grandma for teaching you all that great stuff. That's phenomenal.
Thank you.
You're the
Thank you. I
best.
appreciate it
All
so
right.
much.
You bet. It's the truth. And his company is Everything Just Baked. He's a New Jersey native, Justin Ellen. You have a great day, and we are coming right back.
We vote to protect the Social Security we worked hard for. We vote because family caregivers deserve support. We vote to have a say in our future. For all the reasons why, AARP has information about when, where, and how to vote. Find the information you need to make your voice heard.
Countdown to Election Day, presented by AARP New Jersey. Visit aarp.org/NJ Votes.
8:45. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato taking calls at 888-658-0234. Sunshine today, straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Hey, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. I think it's our last day of what will feel like summer. Are you excited about this, or maybe
No.
not so much? Because you.
Okay. I'm going to go take a
Didn't-
Xanax.
Didn't take long to answer that question. Some like
Pam, our
director
director's
Pam,
happy.
loves it, right?
Yep.
Because there are so many that enjoy the fall crisp feeling. I gotta say, not a fan of waking up for the show now and it's completely pitch black outside. The shorter daylight hours, it's starting to bring on that seasonal affective disorder. But here we go. We'll enjoy the last warm day of this week before as a really cool feeling gets going throughout the next few days, and the clouds also make a big comeback too. So enjoy the sunshine, take that walk, because even though it'll be a little breezy through this afternoon, you'll get 68 degrees and sunny there in Jersey City. A really pretty feel in Newark too. 68 for you. Morristown, 68 degrees right there on the green, and a little further west over toward Hackettstown and Washington, starting our morning chilly. We were in the 30s this morning, now climbing this afternoon to what will feel quite warm. As far as the drought monitor, the severe drought remains in the northernmost section of the state there in orange. The tan color is the moderate drought, and then that yellow area is abnormally dry. But places along the shore have seen an excess of rainfall so far this year, almost 1.5 times that amount, not in the year, in the last 30 days. So it really makes a difference of depending on your location, who sees more rain. Over the last month or so, that translates to about a 1 to 2 inch rainfall deficit for the northern and northwestern portions of the state. Still don't have a name for this system. I waited for the 8 o'clock advisory, which is when the Hurricane Center gives us an update. And while it looks impressive, I think it'll become Melissa today, especially with that real big convection, that organization, and of course the Hurricane Center showing the area in red, thinking that, oh yeah, it's likely going to become a hurricane in the next few hours. So we'll probably have Melissa this time tomorrow, watching and waiting. And it's a storm that'll be down in the Caribbean for a while, not expecting to make any landfall anytime soon. But our forecast at least points to a warmer than average rest of the month, at least slightly warmer than average at portions of the Midwest, and even there, right through just west of, say, portions of the Rockies, pointing to slightly higher than average rain chances. And that's also through the end of the month for us here in New Jersey, a little bit more of a wetter, milder feel. The 7-day forecast points to cooler temperatures taking over for the rest of this week. We'll be down in the 60s, well, really 50s, maybe getting to 60 by Saturday, and extra clouds on the way for Sunday, preventing us from leaving the 50s. A really cool finish to the weekend, starting off next week in the 50s as well. So rather chilly going forward into next week. And then I think, again, our last week of milder weather comes to an end with 60 only on Saturday and the upper 50s and low 60s down the shore into Sunday and Monday. So a few chances of rain here and there, but overall a cooler, cloudier trend, Ken, taking us into next week.
You said that in a nice, polite whisper. I appreciate that, so as not to break my heart. But there you go, Mike. All right, sir. We'll check back with you in a little bit. Or actually, we won't. We'll check back with you tomorrow morning. So we'll see you then.
I'll see you
Thank
then.
you very much. Have a good day, buddy. 47 degrees right now, northern New Jersey. 42 though in Trenton. It's funny to see that change. That's a big stretch. So I guess we have a blob of good sunshine here in northern New Jersey, and it's only 40 down at Cape May. Quite a stretch, depending on where you are in the state. Depending, I guess, on the wind flow. Mike would know that better than me. 8:49 right now. In terms of traffic, look at the Hudson River crossings. We have a mess everywhere now. It is 35 minutes at the Lincoln and the Holland tunnels. Usually it's not that bad at the Holland at this hour. Looking at the GWB 8095 upper and lower level, you can still see it's heavy, but it's not as bad as it was. The upper level on the right, lower on the left, we're talking about a 35-minute crossover time into Manhattan that way. 8:50 is our time, and nursing home care is a critical issue for many families across New Jersey and across the nation. Today, we're joined by Lori Facciarosa Brewer, who is New Jersey's long-term care ombudsman, and Sam Brooks, Director of Public Policy, to discuss a new report from Consumer Voice that sheds light on nursing home funding and care quality. Good morning to the two of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have to start. Did I get the Facciarosa correct on that, or do you say Facciarosa?
I am so impressed, Ken. I have to say.
Ma io parlo italiano.
Exactly.
It's good to have you.
I don't
both
speak it. I just know it means red face.
Red face. That's exactly it. Faccia is face and rosa is red. Exactly. Well, it's good to have you both on. And by the way, this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, as I have a almost 95-year-old dad. He'll be 95 in a few weeks, and he is in a rehab/nursing home. So this is very much in my world right now. And this is important for people to understand how taxpayer dollars are used in nursing homes and what related parties mean in this context, and what residents and families need to know about the system. This is all so essential. So Lori and Sam, let's start with you telling us how the new Consumer Voice report, what it's about, and what are the key findings.
Sure. Thanks, Ken. Thanks for having us. It's nice to be here. So, as advocates for nursing home residents, increasingly we've seen that care outcomes are often predicated upon who owns a nursing home and how the money is used within those homes. There's been increasing scrutiny on how nursing homes use Medicare and Medicaid dollars. The primary funder of long-term care in the United States is our taxpayer dollars. And one particular concern that Consumer Voice has had, and I think Gloria has had, and other advocates across the country, is that there's a lot of money going into the system, but unfortunately poor results are coming out. We hear it across the country, and it's particularly acute in New Jersey as well. And so what we've been doing is looking at nursing homes and where does that money go once they come into the nursing home coffers, and increasingly finding that it's going someplace other than care. And one of those ways that the nursing homes do that is through what's called a related party transaction. And what that is a company that does business with a nursing home but is in fact owned by the same person who owns a nursing home. So frequently, this is a management company, a physical therapy company, or a real estate company. Essentially, that company charges the nursing home for services. The nursing home is paying that company, but they're both owned by the same operators and owners. What that allows nursing homes to do is to disguise how dollars are used. These numbers are often inflated. What nursing homes are charged are inflated, and it also makes nursing homes look less profitable. To illustrate, in 2019, about $11 billion ran through related party companies across the country. And research shows that nursing homes use these types of transactions to hide profits. It's estimated that maybe close to 70% of nursing home profits are hidden in these transactions. So we wanted to take a look at New Jersey, and New Jersey goes like the rest of the country. We wanted to see how New Jersey was operating when it came to related parties. So we looked at 3 chains in New Jersey, and we found that they were doing the same thing that a lot of other nursing homes do as well. We looked at over 3 years, from 2021 to 2023. We looked at 3 prominent chains, and during that period of time, they ran $200 million through related party companies, while at the same time, conditions in those homes were terrible. Staffing was low, ratings were low, residents were suffering. And our report asked, why is this money going not towards care, and why do we continue to provide money towards care when what we're seeing on the other end is just really poor outcomes for residents, for families, and for people from New Jersey?
That's amazing. And so we all think that when we're spending the money, and it isn't cheap to send to take care of somebody in a nursing home. I mean, sometimes you have to pay out of pocket, sometimes you get reimbursed. It all depends on your circumstances. But this is awful to hear this. This is diversion of funds, is what it is, for profit, and this is a terrible, terrible thing. So, Lori, as the ombudsman, so what is your function then? Your function is to keep an eye on this, and is there like a list or a report to know which nursing home companies are doing it better and which are doing it for profit?
Well, it's hard to say. That's why one of the things we're pushing for is legislation in the state of New Jersey. There is a Senate bill, 1948, that is pushing for greater transparency. We need to know. We know that more than $5 billion is going into the long-term care system in public funds in the state of New Jersey. But if you go into a nursing home, and Ken, you just mentioned that you have elderly loved ones, you go in, you cannot believe that this is what we are paying for as a society. Most people don't want to end up in a nursing home, and there's a good reason for that. We spend a lot of money. We spend $5 billion. And when my staff looked at the cost reports, what we found is that $750 million of that is going to related parties. Okay, that's fine. But does the state and does the federal government have the ability to know exactly what those are being spent on? So for instance, if you're spending $1 million on staffing, fine, you say you're spending $1 million. We don't know what you paid in salaries and benefits. We just know that you say you spent it on staffing. And so what we're pushing for is greater ability for the state to actually scrutinize what nursing homes are spending their money on. When we looked at related party spending, we found that across the board, whether it's rent or management services or physical therapy, occupational therapy, or here's something critical, food. When a nursing home was paying a related party for a related vendor for that service or that supply, they almost always paid at least 30% more than if they were paying somebody else. And so what we are here for is to say, you know what, as we're looking at a new administration coming in, potentially a new legislature, let's focus on getting legislation passed that gives the state of New Jersey the tools that it needs to look at audited financial statements of not just the nursing homes, but also every related party and vendor that they do business with.
It's a shame. I mean, that sounds like the only way to go is having a serious audit with serious teeth for those who are found to violate. Because it's one thing to have an audit with just a warning. You need a serious audit with some serious teeth behind it, and it's really frightening to think that that this is happening. And yes, I mean we're talking, and I could say from experience, a nursing home that is so short-staffed that at night it has people there they fear will fall out of bed sleeping in wheelchairs around the nurses' station. That's what I'm encountering right now. And believe me,
Telling
this
you,
ain't cheap.
it's an all too familiar story. And what that all the more reason. If you talk to people who live in nursing homes, these nursing homes are getting, rate increases every year, but you talk to the residents, they don't see a difference.
No, Lori, we are out of time for this segment. I need to have you both back on. This is too serious an issue. Lori Facciarosa Brewer, New Jersey's long-term care ombudsman, and Sam Brooks, Director of Public Policy at National Consumer Voice. Thank you for joining us. Too important. We need to have you back, please. Okay,
Thank
we'll
you.
have you back on.
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks for having me.
And that is on New Jersey Mornings for your Tuesday. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll see you again tomorrow morning starting at 7 a.m. In the meantime, don't bundle up. It's going to be 70 degrees. Have a good day. We'll see you then.